if there's one thing that we saw hit the boiling point in 2020 into 2021 is the role that technology plays in surveilling us. Yeah. Elon Musk comes out and he says run to Signal, and of course the day traders run to some other stock and run it up from 60 cents to $6 a share. But yeah, how do we live in America and have a company like Facebook say the ability to opt out is going away on February the 8th? Prepare yourself. I mean, how in the world does that work? One of your predictions for 2021 is that this situation is hitting a break point. Explain that.
Yeah. So look, Danielle, I think, in fact, I highly recommend this book by Shoshana Zuboff, who was the first tenured business school professor at the Harvard Business School, first female tenured business school professor. Shoshana Zuboff wrote a book called The Age of Surveillance Capitalism. And I have to tell you, it is both ridiculously insightful and so deeply disturbing at the same time. And it is, in fact, these big tech companies that have decided to hoover up all the data that exists and connect it so that their ultimate objective is to manage us, to extract away effectively your autonomy so that you may think that you're doing things for your own doing, but they may in fact be guiding you like a mouse proverbially through the maze to the cheese, so to say. So what do I mean by that? Well, turns out Google will be reading your email on a device and all the other things that you use for Gmail. So that's fine. Maybe Google can read your email. Maybe you say, I have nothing to hide. They have your Fitbit. So they know, by the way, your heart rate is moving at a certain rate when you're reading that email, because they have timestamps on this stuff. And then, by the way, they know you walked into your house and the first thing you did was X, because the Nest device that they own is there and checks the monitors, the temperature and movement in that room. And so they know your pattern of movement, et cetera. Now they also know that you checked your email that came from this person on an Android device. There's 2 billion of those. So they have a data of where you are for most of the time. They know not just because most Android devices have not just location, they have barometric pressure gauges. They can tell not just that you're at the Starbucks on the corner of 14th and 3rd, that you're on the 13th floor of that building and there's a family law office up there. So it's, hey, you were communicating with people that you're not married to. You were at the Starbucks with that other person. Then you went up to the family law office. They now surmise that there's a high probability you're considering a divorce. Here's your ad, but do-it-yourself divorce kit. It's just a little too, look, I will here. In fact, this is great evidence right here on the video. I've moved to a dumb phone because I don't like the monitoring. And by the way, we haven't even gotten into the metadata problem, right? So it's not just, for instance, that you use your phone to tweet. It's that each tweet is tagged with, I don't know what the number is, 50, 70 pieces of metadata. Where were you before? What did you look at before? What was the email you read before? What did you do after? Which IP address was it? Which app were you on before? What might you've been reading, thinking about, et cetera, beforehand? All of these things come into play with each and everything. And then they use big data and analytics to say, all right, this implies this about your behavior, your thinking, what have you. So I think there's a reasonable call to suggest we should restore our autonomy by pushing back against this. And I agree with you. It becomes hard for individuals to do so, which means it is a reasonable ground for regulatory intervention because, there's no other way to contain that, perhaps.
Well, I'm no big advocate for big government, but at some point, the company becomes bigger than the government.
That's right.
And that's problematic.